Day one of practice for stop number 2 of the FLW Tour is getting over with. This tournament, also presented by Ranger Boats. We have Mike Surman. Mike, we are down here, Toho, Kissimmee. That's where this thing's going to go down. You're from Florida. We're in Florida. It's beginning of February. Should probably be some good fish caught.
You know, the way the weather's shaping up, I think it could we could really hit it right. So we'll see what happens. You know, these fish are just waiting for the right weather to come in, and when they come, there's going to be a lot of big bags. So by the forecast, it looks like we're going to have a lot of 80-degree days. So I'm expecting there's going to be some big bags caught.
Well, I think for the folks watching that may not be really familiar with Florida, it's been cold down here. Now, maybe not cold by the rest of the country standard, but it has been cold. It's like front after front after front after front. What does that do to the fish?
You know, in Florida, just like Florida people, we don't, when it's cold, we stay on the couch and we watch football or whatever it is. So, you know, the fish really just don't do a whole lot when they're when the lake's cold. So anytime the water gets above 60 degrees, you know, the fish start to get active. Above 65 in Florida, they really get active. Below 60, which is what we've had for weeks upon weeks, it seems like, they just don't do a whole lot. So today the water temperature in a couple places hit 63, 64, so with the next couple more days of warming weather, it should be on.
Well, you know, you mentioned a little bit ago that it is warming up. Now, does that mean, I mean, there should be fish pulling up to spawn. I'm sure there have been some fish doing that as well. But just as a whole, like, are we going to see like a really good offshore grass kind of bite? Like, what kind of bite can we expect this week?
You know, the crazy thing about Florida is they spawn, so, you know, in waves. So you may have one side of a lake, or, you know, you may have one lake get hot and another lake not really as good. But so what happens is they can be a little bit of anywhere. I expect to still see some guys catching pre-spawners out in the, you know, the offshore grass, the hydrilla, maybe on the outside of the Kissimmee grass and whatever. But I also think, you know, there's going to be a bunch of places where the fish actually come in to do their thing. So, you know, I don't know what's going to be the winning bag yet. I had a okay practice, got a few bites, you know, did a lot of looking, but I really expect that there's going to be some big fish to be caught. So if you're not catching some big ones right now, you better find them.
The final thing I want to leave you with is, it's been a minute since we've been to this fishery for a tour event. Just kind of give us some insight on how the lake is shaping up now versus when we were here in 2015.
You know, the lake's in great shape. It really is. You know, Kissimmee, the water never gets as clear as maybe some of the other lakes. Toho's got beautifully clear water, a lot of hydrilla, but the lakes are in great shape. The lakes have been down a little bit because this whole chain, the Cypress, Hatch and Haw, and Kissimmee was down a couple feet, and they were doing some scraping in some shoreline areas, which will help spawning too. Okay. And the lake's come up now a couple feet in the last few weeks. So that water coming up, the warming coming up, oh yeah, everything kind of says they're coming up. So I really do expect to see somewhere, you've got a good chance to see a 30-pound bag, which is, you know, it definitely lives here. It's going to take, in my mind, it's going to take 15 a day to, you know, to do good, to get a check. But, you know, I'm looking for a big bag at least one day. That's what it's going to take. I really believe it. If you don't have a big bag, it's going to be hard to win.
That's what I love hearing, Mike. I'm going to let you go. Thanks for stopping by, and good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're moving along here. We got Bryan Schmitt with us. And Bryan, you're really good at fishing grass. You're from the Northeast. However, you've been in Florida for like a month, so you're basically a local now. So tell me how things are going out on Toho.
It's going well so far. You know, I've definitely dabbled with the grass pretty much all day today. That's probably what I'm going to do all practice. I got some bites, not the right bites yet. I don't know if it's one of those things that it can just happen overnight. You know, last year in Okeechobee, I had so many people come up to me after the event and said, hey man, I fished that spot you were at. I didn't catch anything. And I checked it the final 2 hours of practice and caught a bunch of bucks. And then we had the off day and the big ones showed up. So I don't know if that's, you know, what we're fixing to happen here with the warming trend and the new moon.
I mean, it is, there's a lot of hype right now around this event. The weather is finally getting nice. You've experienced the cold down here. It could go off this week. The other thing I've heard a lot about just this system as a whole is the hydrilla. I mean, you talked about checking a little bit, but I want to know, like, how good does it look out there right now?
I stay Kissimmee all day, and it looks you know, perfect, to be honest with you. It's set up just right to do a lot of different baits. You know, I think anywhere there's grass, it's a good fishery, and this is definitely a good fishery. It's just if the big ones are going to show up when you need them to show up, you know.
Well, what is it like, you know, you're talking about last year for Okeechobee, you know, checking that spot late in practice. How do you practice for an event when like things are changing almost by the minute?
That's the kicker in Florida. I think anywhere else, if you find them, you know, you could keep up with them. And you know, Florida, sometimes you don't want to catch the big ones right now. You want to maybe catch the males. I've heard these stories, you know, the big ones just showing up overnight, and you know, that's kind of what happened to me last year at Okeechobee. And you can't rule anything out early in practice like this for sure in Florida.
Is it one of those things too? I mean, like obviously you have last year's Okeechobee to go off of, but will there be some things that maybe pique your interest today and tomorrow that are definitely going to get some attention late in the day on Tuesday?
Yes, I think Tuesday is going to be the day, you know, especially late Tuesday. That's when you really want to find them just a little bit, and hopefully it gets better.
With a fishery like this, where I mean there's several, you know, Toho, Kissimmee, Cypress, Hatchinaw, you got options to go to. Do you look at it like, are you trying to hit a little bit of everything, or are you kind of focusing, putting all your chips in one area?
In my first couple years on tour, I would sample everything. I was a runner and gunner. I had to look at everything. Now it's kind of like in Florida, it seems like it goes down in the good areas. You know, you're not going to find 4 days of fish off, you know, some off the wall things. So you got to put your time in where it really goes down at. So usually it's the best looking habitat. So that's what I'm going to do this week, and hopefully, you know, I'll be at the right place at the right time when it matters, you know.
What kind of water temps did you see today?
You know, I had 64 and a half, you know, and that's the warmest I've seen in, like you said, about a month. I actually put sunblock on today, you know.
Wow.
So things are happening by the minute. I fished a tournament years ago. It was like my first tour event. It was on Okeechobee in 2011. It was cold for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then it got warm right during that event, and it would seem like the whole lake came up. I don't know if that's going to happen here, but it would be nice.
These Florida fish are notorious for, I mean, flip of a switch, getting up, doing their thing, and all of a sudden, you know, you were on 10 pounds a day in practice, now you're catching 30 pounds.
I've experienced that, so it definitely can happen. And you know, I think there's going to be some major weights here just because of the weather and the moon, you know, and everything like that. You know, you just got to keep an open mind, keep checking stuff.
So basically what I'm getting is, on the record, you're saying we're going to see at least a 35-pound bag?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think they live here, you know, but there'll be some monster bags for sure.
I love it, man. Well, that's good enough for me. I'm going to let you get rolling. Thanks for stopping by.